everyone, so today I'm coming to you with an annotating or close reading how-to video, and I know a lot of people during the year have to annotate, but especially for the summer, when you're giving summer reading for whatever it would be, like English, social studies classes, and you're given books, you are expected to highlight and annotate and close read those books. And for the first 2 years of high school, so freshman and sophomore year, I thought I knew how to annotate, but I really didn't. There's good annotating and there's bad annotating, and I was badly annotating. I didn't know what I was doing, what to look for. So this is just going to be a really quick video showing you, talking about how to organize, what symbols to use for annotating, and all that stuff. So I'm just going to get right started. So the first thing I think you should have are symbols to follow by for each of your books, so just so they're consistent. On a little sticky note, I like to make some symbols such as, important parts, motif, theme, sorry my phone just went off, symbols, definitions, all that stuff, and then I like to take it and put it in the inside cover of my book, just so if I see one of these things while I'm reading or I forget what symbol to use, I can go back and look right here. And also it helps you know what you're looking for, just so you can stay consistent throughout the entire book. Now, the second thing is to stay organized. Freshman year, I had to read these two books, and I was adamant that I was not going to write in my books. And I know some people hate writing books. Okay, you cannot use that as your excuse anymore. You just need to do it, because you can put all these post-it notes in them and stuff, but it's really not going to help you. And as you can see, I finally got sick of it and just started highlighting and writing in my book. But post-it notes, let's say you write a definition in your book, but you write a definition on your post-it notes. When you go back to write a paper or something, or look up those definitions, you're not going to know whether you wrote it on a sticky note or whether you wrote it in the book, or what to look for and how to look for it and where it's going to be in that book. So I really recommend not using sticky notes. Plus, they make your books bigger and they look really unorganized, and for me this just makes me really anxious. So I do not recommend writing on sticky notes. I recommend writing just in the book, because it makes it look a lot more organized, and it in reality is a lot more organized and looks a lot nicer. Now also, when you're organized, I recommend keeping certain symbols for pen and certain symbols for highlighter. So on that sticky note, I had parts to keep up with the plot in literary terms, such as symbol, theme, and motif. Now what I like to write in pen are definitions, the author's style, plot, and arrows to keep up with the plot. Now, I read the things I carried for this summer's book, so as you can see on this page, where am I? Come on, I bookmarked you. Great. On this page, I have highlighting and writing. Now, for underlining in pen, I use for keeping up with parts of the plot, important things that happen in the plot. For definitions, where am I? I circle the word, right here, and then I write the definition right next to it. And also for the author's style, I'll put a certain sentence in parentheses, and then right next to that sentence I'll write how it keeps up with his style throughout the book. And also for arrows, I don't really have a lot of arrows in this book, but I have a lot in this book just because it was nonfiction. I like to put arrows to keep up with point A to B, especially in the tipping point. If you read the tipping point, you know that it's a lot of paragraphs, so they come up with the starting idea and the ending solution. So I'd write an arrow from the starting idea to the ending solution, such as here, or I put a lot of arrows in this book, or here, or just from one main idea to the other, and then I would write a little note by it so I know why I drew that arrow. I love writing arrows just to keep up with the plot and stuff like that. And also, to use pen at the end of every chapter, I'll either write a summary of the chapter if it's really hard to keep up with. So with Huck Finn, I found it really hard to pay attention. So at the end of each chapter, I just wrote a little summary just to keep up with, so I knew what happened in that chapter. So if I had any questions about the plot, I could just go to the end of that chapter and see what happened. And also for this summer's homework, I had to write 15 deep thought deep thinking questions. And so for the end of each chapter, I would just write a few questions that I had about the book, or about the plot, about certain literary terms, and this one has a lot just because this is a big chapter, but I just write some questions at the end of each chapter that I wanted to use or maybe think about, or that would help me in my reading towards future chapters. Now, the second thing, or I guess the third thing to organize would be highlighting. Highlighting, like I said, I like to use it for my literary terms, so if I have like themes or symbols or motifs, which are the main ones that you should be keeping up with, I will highlight them. So highlighting, and then I'll highlight it, and then next to it, I'll write something about it just to keep up with it. Like I'll put like a little M or a little T for motif or theme, and then I'll put words next to it just so I know why I thought it was a motif or a theme or whatever like that. Just, you know, more highlighting. Just anything to help you keep up with your book. Now, as far as like, what if you don't like a book? Well, you have to realize that you're reading it not really for enjoyment. You don't have to enjoy it. Just try and pick out bits and pieces to analyze it. Remember, you're analyzing the book. You don't have to necessarily read it or keep up with the plot. You can just look for things that are either literary terms, you know, definitions that you don't know. You are supposed to be picking through each paragraph of this book. You don't necessarily have to keep up with the plot, but every 2 minutes or a minute or so, you're going to be stopping and writing. So I think that'll help you a little bit more once you realize that you're really analyzing the book and you don't really have to read it. You should understand what's going on in the plot, but more than that, you should understand how parts relate to literary terms, other books in society, and stuff like that. So once you realize, I think that you're analyzing it and you're not really reading it for enjoyment, and you realize that it's homework, it won't be as bad as you think. What else? Sorry, I'm like reading my list here. As far as what teachers are looking for, I know my teachers, they just go and they flip through the book like this and they just see all the writing you did. The more the writing, the better. I have had some teachers where 1 week they would check our close reading and just flip through the book or the chapter, and the next week they would go through it and read it and make sure we were reading accurate notes. So you never really know what you're going to get, but definitely, you know, make sure that you have accurate notes and you have enough notes. Like this is a good page because it has a lot, but it's also accurate. And what else? This is a really good page because there's a lot, but it's accurate. This is a great page. You know, just so you know, just make sure that the teachers, and even if they don't check it for accuracy, they're going to be making sure that there's a lot of writing, a lot of circling, a lot of arrows, not necessarily on each page, but that's what they're going to be looking for. So they're going to also be checking for accuracy, but a lot of close reading. What else do I have? That's pretty much it. Also, nonfiction books and fiction books are going to be a lot of different. For my nonfiction book, I just kind of paid attention to statistics and plot. All of the stuff I said we should be writing in pen is what I paid attention to. And then nonfiction, I did a little bit more highlighting. Fiction I did a lot more highlighting, whereas nonfiction I did only a little bit of highlighting because I didn't really find those literary terms as much as I did in the fiction books. So I would say nonfiction is more pen and a little bit of highlighting, and fiction is a lot of pen and a lot of highlighting. So nonfiction, pen, fiction, highlighting. There you go, simple as that. So I hope everybody found this helpful. Really quick, I'll show you like a bad example of annotating. Like this is a bad example, that's a bad page, there's like 2 things on there. This is a bad page. This is Shakespeare, so I like didn't really go through highlighting it much. A Doll's House, I found plays harder. I'm going to do a video separately on plays because that was just not good. their eyes were watching God, you know, not really any highlighting, just pen. So now that I have this organized and I have this system between pen and highlighting, I think it's going to be a lot easier. So I hope everybody found this helpful. If you have any questions, like always, inbox me or put them in the comments, and I'll be sure to get back to you. Subscribe, because I have a lot of videos coming up. I have a what's in my bag video, guys versus girls, like what's in my backpack. I have some helpful school smartphone apps and a lot of stuff coming up like that, fun stuff, but I also have some study tips and things like that. So I don't really want to keep this focus on school. If you guys have any like other advice that you'd like to ask me, feel free. I'll make a video on that, or I'll, you know, respond to your comment, respond to your inbox, whatever. It's YouTube. The world is yours. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.